I'm going to change my opinion slightly on something. So I've been talking about how there's been some anger directed at Republicans in Olympia who have supported watered down versions of public safety bills. So, for instance, the bill that would give police some power back to pursue suspects, is going through the legislature in a very watered down form that I really don't think is going to have a substantial impact on public safety. That being said, my argument has been something is better than nothing on the pursuit bill, and I stand behind that. Even if their changes will allow police to pursue one more person, that's better than no changes at all. Now, I also shared a similar sentiment when it comes to the Blake fix. So a little background for people who don't follow the podcast on a regular basis. The Blake decision was a decision by the Washington State Supreme Court that nullified our state's felony drug possession statute. And the result was essentially de facto drug legalization for possession, that you could just walk around carrying whatever you want, and there wasn't a felony law on the books to prohibit that. So last legislative session, they put a little Band-Aid over it, and really the goal this legislative session is to find a permanent solution for the Blake fix. But like the pursuit law, the Blake fix from its original, bipartisan proposals at the beginning of the session has been watered down and watered down and watered down. And we've been talking about, the carrot and the stick. Making sure that people can get treatment, but also making sure there's some consequences to protect society as a whole. And the amount of stick in the current version of the bill is very, very, very low. But last week, I kind of still took that position of, well, something is better than nothing. Having a law on the books to criminalize drug possession is better than not doing anything this session, and in July, going back to de facto legalization. I'm changing my mind on that a little bit because we discussed last week how if this watered down Blake fix passes, it will have a local preemption, meaning that the laws that some localities have passed to try to enforce, drug possession on their own would be null and void. So to me, if the Blake fix that ends up, being up for a vote, this is the final thing, is so weak that it won't substantially improve the drug crisis. To me, it might actually be better to kill it, for Republicans to kill it, because they do need some Republican support, I think, to push anything through, because the Democrats are a little split on this issue. And then that will allow localities, cities and counties, to put their own laws on the books that are more strict. Does that make sense? So if the option is have a state law again, but it's very, very, very weak, or have no state law governing drug possession and allow cities and counties that want to actually do something meaningful to do something on their own, that to me, having mulled that issue this weekend, that to me makes a lot more sense. Now, I'm hopeful that at some point from now until the end of the session, which is racing toward us, that there will be meaningful change to that Blake fix so the state law has more teeth. But if it doesn't, I actually think that it ought to be killed so that cities who really understand that there's a reason why we criminalize drug possession can take matters into their own hands. So I wanted to kind of talk through my thought process on these things as the session moves forward and as the session develops.